Right now, ladies and gentlemen, we are at the home office of Dr. Oladipo Sowunmi, a consultant emergency psychiatrist at the Neuropsychiatric Hospital, Aro, Abeokuta. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
And thank you very much for giving us this audience.
Pleasure.
Doctor, recently I was making a research about Muhammad Zulfar Alpha. I found out that this man from Kwana Dangara in Kano is responsible for raping 40 women. And amongst these women, we have minors, we have the aged ones. So I came up with this theory that this is ridiculous. This can't be normal. It must have medical implication attached to it. And there was this troubling statistics that came from the Inspector General of Police of Nigeria that within 5 months we've had reported cases of rape at an alarming rate of 717 cases. Those are the reported, and we still have some underlying unreported cases. So I want to put this question forward to you, sir, as a psychiatrist, doctor, that what can you say is the psyche of a rapist
who are affected? In terms of the psyche of a rapist, it's important to know that in terms of the cause or the etiology of any mental health disorder, there are 3 different rubrics in which we can look at the cause, because not a single particular factor contributes to someone developing a mental health disorder. So we generally have 3 factors that we think about: the physical factor, the psychological factor, and then the social factor. All these 3 factors combine together in different rates and at different times to determine whether a particular person will develop a mental health disorder, and in this case, whether the person will rape or not. Now, it's important to also know that some people are not essentially, in some terms, coded as what you would call a mental health disorder. So, and what do I mean by that? Some people are said to have minor psychiatric or mental health disorder, and others have a major psychiatric disorder. Now, this rubric is just for convenience. A mental health disorder is a mental health disorder, but what the classification will
and
mean.
both the minor and the major needs mental attention.
Both need mental attention, but the classification is just to let people understand what the severity of the illness is. So, for example, what is the psychic of a rapist? So when you want to talk about the psychic of a rapist, the word psyche is a common term to look at the psychological factor that contributes to someone developing a mental illness. So in the context of what we are talking about, which is a rapist. Now, when you talk about the psychological or the psychic, there are 2 major subdivisions under the psychological well-being or the psychological makeup of a person. Now, the first is the personality traits, which people talk about. There are different definitions and different explanation to all these things. But generally, since that's not the main topic, I'll just generally explain that there's nobody that has a particular dimension, but everybody has different traits of different groups of psychological makeup, and that makes the individual. So no 2 people are the same. 2 different people have 2 different psychological makeup or psychological traits, and then the motivation of the individual. So in life, the most common one is Maslow's hierarchy of motivation, where they have different categories of people's motivation, which will start from food, shelter, which are basic psychological things, to self-actualization. Now, these 2 things determine what the psyche of a rapist will be. So what are the psychological traits that you're likely to find in someone who's a rapist? Now, it's important for us to know that it's not specific. It's not a one-shoe-fits-all. That's because I explained that the physical, psychological, and then social factors all contribute and all color each other to determine what the person will become. So, for example, you could have somebody who has psychopathic traits, you understand, but he will not rape. That's because some physical and then psychological factors have colored those and made the person not to be more prone to raping. So, in very simple terms, what has been associated with people who rape have different categories and different range, but what we call the cluster B generally have been more associated with people who have rape. Not to talk too much in very big grammar, what we're just saying is that we have people who have some form of, who have difficulties relating with people, who have difficulties also associating with people and relating adequately.
The ones we call social lepers.
Well, I don't know what people will call social leper, but in terms of my own training, we're talking about people who have difficulties with social interaction, because social interaction is a different class entirely and depends on the society and the person in which the person is living. So, for example, if somebody grows up within a very sociable environment or parents who are sociable, the person will have traits which will make the person more sociable. If the person they have not grown or had parents who are not sociable and have not been in an environment which is sociable, it's not likely to be considered a very sociable person in the context of people who are sociable. So that's why I said that the social environment in this term will contribute to the person. But be it as it may, the most important thing we need to know in terms of the psychic of the individual with who rapes is that what are the personality traits in this person and what are the motivation that this person has. So